hometown and surrounding area. Tiger Talk is brought to you by String Beans Coffee House on Lower Main in Princeton, Hancock's Neighborhood Market, and Katie's Delicious Homemade Goodness, and Perry's Floors and more. And good morning at 8 minutes now past the hour of 8 o'clock, and welcome to Tiger Talk. And I have the pleasure of welcoming into the WPKY studios this morning for Tiger Talk, Maggie Gammon. Good morning.
Good morning.
Maggie Gammon is the owner and proprietor of the Cat's Tail Bookstore in downtown Princeton.
Yes.
And you've been there now. We were talking when you came in about a year and a half.
Yeah, I officially opened in August of 2016. 2016,
Okay.
Year and a half.
Well, then let's begin there, and let me ask you what inspired you to open a bookstore. Because it's pretty unique, and we'll get into that here in a minute. But tell us about the Cat's Tail and what inspired you to open it.
Well, it's actually a dream that I've had for 20, 30 years. I started out as
Isn't
a book.
It fun?
Yeah, it's fun. Fun to finally live your dream. But I started out as a book collector, so I would go to estate sales, auctions. I'd see a book that I'd want, and of course I'd end up with a whole box of books, and I'd stick them away because I can't throw away a book.
Yeah, isn't it cool how some books are just they're just all down there, and there's all kinds of great books out there for people give them away.
Great books. I love to look at books. I love the feel of books. I like to hold a book. So eventually I ended up with a pretty good stock of books, and my husband and I were thinking, we knew someday we would come back to Princeton after we retired from our various professions. And I thought, I would really like to have just a little used bookstore in downtown Princeton. It took a lot of years, but I finally got it.
That's awesome. Of course, I think you had acquired the building that you're in for a long while, and it kind of sat there just kind of beckoning and waiting for you to put shelving in there, right?
That's true. Actually, it's a little funny story. Daryl was retired from IBM, and he came in to Princeton to visit some family and do some genealogy research. And I was still working full-time for a law firm in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay.
And he called me while he was here, and he said, I found your bookstore. I said, okay. And he told me what building it was. And the funny thing is, I used to work for the attorneys next door to the building. I worked for George Eldred at one time and Mark Wells. And the building that he found was the old Modern Beauty Shop right next door to where I used to work when I first met him. So we came kind of full circle.
That is so cool. And so when he called you and made that call, you were like, yes, right?
I said, yeah, okay, are you sure you want to do that? He said, oh, yeah. He said, let's do this. He said, it needs a lot of work, but we can do this. And so it took a lot of years, but the work finally got done.
Cool story. So you collected all these books over the years. You said you just love the way they look, the way they feel. What kind of do you like? All kinds of books, or if you read yourself, what kind of do you like fictions? Do you like nonfiction? I mean, do you like everything?
Kind of an eclectic taste. My favorite is mysteries. I love mysteries, especially cozy mysteries and fun mysteries.
Right.
I like biographies. I like history. I like a little bit. I like general fiction. I like a little bit of romance. I like a lot of different things. So my stock kind of reflects that because I have a full range of probably heavier on the mysteries than anything else because that's what I know the best.
Right.
But a lot of general fiction, trying to build up my classics section. I have a lot of history, mostly World War II and Civil War, but that's building up every day too.
And let's remind our listeners, these are all gently used books, basically. You say gently used. I mean,
Yeah,
they're used books, and then some of them, I guess, are probably
some
a
have
little.
been read a little bit more harder than
Yeah,
others. Yeah.
yeah. But you can find a lot of really good. I've been in there several times, and let's go back and tell the folks. You said Old Modern Beauty Shop. Beauty Shop. That's right next to the Capitol Theater. There. What's your address?
The address is 207 West Main Street,
Yeah.
and for some of our senior citizens, had a lot of people come in and tell me this used to be the sweet shop. Many years ago,
shop.
it was
Yeah,
the
I've heard
sweet
of that.
shop,
Yeah.
and that became a book beauty shop. Now it's a bookstore.
That's excellent. And of course, it's called the Cat's Tail.
Yes.
Why?
It's called the Cat's Tail because there are two cats who live in the store, so it's kind of a play on words because I have the cats that live there, and tail is T-A-L-E instead of T-A-I-L. But my logo...
Tales to tell.
They have... yes. Actually, two of my friends helped me come up with the name and the logo. Yeah, that's the Cat's Tail.
I think you done good.
Yeah, I think so. It just really kind of came together.
Yeah.
So.
What are the cats' names?
Pie Wacket and Jenny Linsky.
Now let me tell you about Pie. I think I have a fraternity brother who lives in Missouri, and I think his cat. I know it's named Pie Wacket. Where does that name? Is there a character that a cat is? That was
there
Pie
actually
Wacket?
is.
That's what I was thinking.
Pie
I'm
Wacket.
trying to think of where.
Yeah, Pie Wacket came to me on Halloween.
Okay.
And Pie Wacket was the name of the cat in a movie back in the 50s with Jimmy Stewart and Kim Novak called Bell, Book, and Candle.
Yeah.
It's about a witch.
Uh-huh.
And Pie Wacket was the witch's cat.
Yeah.
Of course, the witch falls in love, so she's not a witch anymore. So, but my friend thought that it was just fitting that since it was Halloween, I should name the cat Pie Wacket. So.
And it's a black cat, I do believe.
Yes, they're both black cats.
And what's the other cat's name?
The other cat is Jenny Linsky.
Jenny Linsky. Now tell us about that.
Jenny Linsky was the name of a little black cat from a series of children's books in the 50s and 60s called The Cat Club by Esther Averill. And Jenny was a little black cat who was rescued by a retired sea captain, and she had a little red scarf, and they lived in Greenwich Village. And she would go out into the courtyard, and there were all these other cats. So it was the adventures of Jenny and the Cat Club.
Cool.
So when a friend helped me rescue Jenny, we decided she had to be Jenny Linsky. So
nice, I love it.
Yeah.
Here's an opinion question: Do you think, what do you think books are in our society today with all the social media, people reading on MacBooks and Kindles and that kind of stuff? I'm kind of like you. I'm a traditionalist. It's nice to hold a paper book in your hand, isn't it? There's still something very cool about that.
There's a connection between the reader and the author when you're actually holding the words that the author created. Mm-hmm. And I think when you're reading a book and you feel that connection, and there's something visceral about holding the book and the pages and like what did they just say, and you can go back real fast to 3 pages earlier to look something back up. It's just to me it's just that's the whole joy of reading is to have that book in your hand.
Yeah, and the textures. You know, there's textures to turning a page. It's kind of like when you eat something, you know?
Right.
I mean, it's the same. In my mind, it's a similar kind of deal, you know?
If you hold an old book from like the early 1800s and the feel of the paper.
And the smells.
And the glue that they used and you get a sense of the antiquity, the history of that book. And the feel of the paper, so you tend to hold it and turn the pages a lot different than you would, say, a modern book because the texture, like you said, is just so different.
Yeah, there's a big part of it to that. I don't know. I've tried it both ways, and I'm a book guy. I mean, if I have a book, I want a book. You know, I'm reading Zig Ziglar's "See at the Top" right now. There's all kinds of forms of it out there, on the internet, electronically, but.
You got the book.
And I love it.
Yeah. And like I said, I think it's easier to go back and refer to, you can flip back the pages and go forward if you want to. Mm-hmm. And you know where your spot is.
Reading in my mind, well, not my mind, I think everybody's mind, it's the most important part of learning. because if you can't read,
it
you
is.
can't really
It is.
learn anything else.
It's a very basic thing. It's what civilization is based on, is communication through printed word. There is verbal, but being able to record things and write things down and put ideas on paper and have other people read it. The book, the invention of the printing press and the books that were started to be printed is what brought us out of the Dark Ages.
Exactly.
Books are important.
They are. And it's kind of cool how we've flitted around to this, but it's just what we do,
Yeah.
The Cat's Tail has a variety of used books, and again,
Yes.
you just mentioned all the kind of different genres, but it's also a cool atmosphere to kind of come in and hang out. You've got some couches in there.
Yeah.
You can kind of come in and lounge around.
I've got a coffee pot.
Pet the cats.
I've got tea bags. You can come in. You can sit down. I guarantee if you come in and sit down, you'll find a cat in your lap.
Oh yeah, I do.
These two cats love people, which is why they're in the store. They don't like cats. They kind of have the store divided for territory. They don't. They they just pretend the other one isn't there.
They've got it divided up, don't they?
Yes, they do. Pie Wacket sits at the door. She's the greeter.
Mm-hmm.
She'll reach out and touch you. If you sit down, she'll get in your lap. And
Yeah.
Jenny's the counter worker. She's up and down the counter. So if you come in, she wants to get in your bag or.
Have you taught her to count change?
No,
Oh, okay.
no. She likes knocking over the penny bowl every now and
Right.
then.
What are your hours at the
My
Cat's Tail?
hours are I'm open every day except Wednesday and Sunday, and the hours are 11 to 5.
11 to 5.
11 to 5, yeah.
So you can come in, have a hot, steamy drink on a cold day.
On a cold day.
And just browse the selection of the books. I know when I was in there, I went through all kinds of things. Just sat down and just looked at a few things. I walked out of there with something. I can't forget what I forgot. It seemed like it was a history book or a war book. My son and I were in there. He was a World War II guy, and I think we found something in there the last time I was in there.
Yeah, there's something for everybody, and if I don't have it, I can either keep an eye out for you. I can do a search. I do a search service for people.
Right.
I have some customers who have certain books that they're looking for, and I've got a wide connection in the online book community.
So you do you use. Let's come back. We'll take a break.
Okay.
And we'll come back. Let's talk more about that. How you acquire your books, what kind of services you can offer out of there, and how it all works. That's a neat concept. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
It is 8:19, and we're going to take a String Beans coffee break, and we'll be back. And we have Maggie Gammon here from the Cat's Tail at 207. 207. Is it West Main?
West Main.
It is 207 West Main in Princeton. That's where you can find the Cat's Tail. It's got a good, cool vibe. She's open every day except Wednesday and Sundays, 11 to 5. We'll come back and hear more about the Cat's Tail. You're listening to Tiger Talk here in your hometown radio station, WPKY The Tiger. String Beans Coffee House in downtown Princeton specializes in made-to-order espresso drinks. Stop by Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to noon and enjoy a pick-me-up. You can also enjoy fresh-baked scones, homemade chocolate chip and oatmeal raisin cookies, and espresso brownies that'll keep you going all day long. They're also open on Saturday from 9 to 2. String Beans Coffee House on Lower Main in Princeton. Great coffee and more in a great atmosphere on Lower Main in downtown Princeton. And we are back on Tiger Talk, and we were talking before our break about some of the ways that you can help folks locate books and some of the methods that you have of acquiring books. Go into that a little bit.
Well, my main source of getting new books in right now is I do offer trade-in credit for customers. My price on my books are, for paperbacks, it's 1/2 the cover. So if you bring a paperback in for trade-in, you'll get 1/4 of the cover price. So if it's a $10 book, I sell it for $5. You get $2.50 if you bring it back in for trade-in. I still have many books in stock. I've got over 100 boxes in the back room that I'm trying to get sorted and inventoried.
Wow.
So that as I get room on the shelves, I can bring out fresh stock. I have a search service. If there's a particular book you're looking for, an out-of-print book, or you're looking for a gently used copy of a book that you just want to read, I have a search service. I can go out on the internet and I can find that book, any price range, any condition. Doesn't matter if you want a reading copy, a first edition collectible, signed edition. I can find it for you.
That's cool.
So,
yeah, I like it, and it's interesting. So, do you have any Harlequin romances?
Yeah, I have a lot of Harlequin romances. I have boxes of Harlequin romances.
Isn't that great?
And actually, some of them might be collectible at this stage.
You got some classic Harlequin
I have
romances.
some very classics, yeah. So, yeah, but I have...
A few of those have come through my house. Not that I read them, but growing up, my mom and grandpa, they go to the store and you'd see a Harlequin romance.
Yeah. Harlequin has been around.
Oh gosh, don't tell that. But
well, the funny thing about Harlequin is when they started out, of course, it was romance series, little like 100-page paperbacks, and there are a number of mainstream authors now who started out as Harlequin writers.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Jane Ann Krentz, Kay Hooper, Tess Gerritsen, Catherine Coulter. Every one of them started out writing little romance books, and they're now
right?
doing mainstream thrillers and FBI procedurals, and they've got a big fan base now.
Yeah,
so
I mean that's
So if you're looking for some of their early work, I can find it for you.
and a lot of it is just about practicing your craft and honing your skill, and then that's what's cool about writing is that it's all up in here and how you put it down on the paper. Yeah, but the cat. You've been downtown now almost a year and a half.
Yes.
A year and a half, and we've got a great downtown, don't we?
We have a fabulous downtown.
Isn't it awesome?
I love downtown Princeton. I'm so happy we came back here. It's vibrant. The people are great. I go to other towns and I go through their downtown. And I think, wow, we've got a nice downtown.
We really do. We've got folks that care about our downtown.
We have
We've
a
got
nice
folks working.
mix of people downtown, and I love
so
Princeton.
it's a special place to be.
It is a very special place, yes.
And folks, we want to urge you, if you're out there listening via World Wide Web, via the radio, or however you're doing it, come by the Cat's Tail if you haven't been, 207 West Main, because it's just cool to go in there and hang out. Even if you're not looking for a book, go in there and say hello and hang out. But I guarantee you'll find something to thumb through, won't you?
I have so many people who come in, they say, we just wanted to pet the cats. That's fine. Come on in, sit down, pet the cats.
I used to run downtown at night. I'd run around the block, so every time they'd be sitting in the window and I'd run by.
Yeah.
And it was kind of cool to
they
see.
watch people go by Princeton.
Yeah. But your store has a good feel to it. When you come in, you're very welcoming, and you can just come in and just thumb books, and it's a good place. If you're shopping downtown, take a break, stop by the Cat's Tail. Yeah, and you never know what you might take home.
You never know what you're going to find.
So when you categorize your books, you do by author, by section. How's your store organized? If somebody walks in there and is looking for something in particular,
it's sectioned by genre. Okay, so mysteries and thrillers are together, and romance and general fiction and history. They all have their own little area. And then it's alphabetized by author usually. Okay. So
that's a good way for, if you're out there listening, hadn't been, if you've got something in mind that you might be looking for.
If you've got one author or a title in particular, ask me. I've got all my books all my books that are on the shelf are inventoried.
They are inventory, yeah.
I'm working on the back room, yeah.
It's okay, so you've got them in a database.
I've got them in a spreadsheet database, and I can look it up if I don't remember it, but I have a pretty good idea of what I've got in there.
Good deal. Have you always been gravitated toward books? You obviously worked in law offices and have done that kind of work, but have you always just been a bookie, so to speak?
Yes. From the time I was a child, in my youth, my mother read to me all the time. We always had books. If we'd go to the store, kids get toys. No, we got books.
Well, that's good.
I spent many hours with her when I was in my youth, going to used bookstores in the Philadelphia area, and I got my love of books from her. Right. And I've always been. I've just always had books around.
It's a good thing.
There's a quote from Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Graham. It says, "There's nothing, absolutely nothing, half so much worth doing as messing about with boats." Well, I've kind of paraphrased that. There's nothing, absolutely nothing, half so much worth doing as messing about with books.
Awesome. Yeah, that is so great. Somebody's out there listening, they're going, man, I've got all these great books, and I'd love to pawn them off on somebody. Or, I mean, is that something that you'd be willing to look at? Or
Yeah.
I know you don't want to start a book yard sale, so to speak.
Right.
But
yes, I do. I will review the books that are brought in for trade-in credit.
Okay.
I'm not buying books at this
Right.
time. I don't need to buy any books,
Right.
but as a customer service, I do trade-in credit.
Okay.
And the only thing, it's like dollar for dollar. So if you have $10 in credit and you buy $10 worth of book, I just have to collect the tax.
Gotcha.
So.
And of course, that would be based on half of the cover price
Right,
of that
for
book.
paperbacks.
If it's in a good
Hardbacks, Hardbacks are a little bit different. It
Right.
depends on the condition, the edition, whether I've got 16 copies of that title
Right,
already. I don't
right.
need another one. But generally, and if it's a collectible, if somebody brings in something that I can spot right away, for example, if you happen to have a first edition Sue Grafton, A is for Alibi, especially if it's signed, please come see me right away, because I can definitely help you make some money on it.
Wow. So that's the biggie right now. Are there things like that? That brings up something interesting. I guess there are things, there are collectibles or pretty important
Yes.
things out there that are worth a little money.
There are. Even, if we're looking at the early 20th century writers, Hemingway, Steinbeck, Fitzgerald, all like that, their works go for a lot of money. Not the 60th printing of
Right.
Old Man in the
But
Sea.
you're talking about
I'm
something.
talking about something that was printed, even a second state or second edition can be worth a little bit of money. But, first editions, there are serious collectors out there. And like I said, I've connected with them, and I can find, if you've got a nice collection of,
Look at your bookshelves, folks.
check your bookshelves. You might have some money sitting there.
I've stayed in some houses on vacation, that are rented in old homes, and just marveled at stuff on the shelves that you can see, and it's incredible.
Yeah.
The collections of books that some people have in their libraries or just their office shelves. Do you have audiobooks?
I don't really have audiobooks. I did have some because my mother, when she was working in Paducah, she loved to listen to books on the way to work. So I had a lot of her audiobooks. There's not a really good, it's not really a good resale market.
Right.
And so whatever I've had, anybody that could use it, I've just given it to them. And I probably still have some more boxes of, so if you're looking for some, But I don't do CDs or music CDs or anything like that. Just books.
That's great.
Yeah, I've got enough. I got books on my shelf, and that's all I've got room for.
All right. Well, Maggie is going to open today at 11 o'clock.
One more thing.
Yes,
I've
go
got
ahead.
one more thing I do want to say. I do also carry some of the local authors' books.
Okay, that
We've
is
got some
important, yeah.
local authors. I'm a big believer in supporting our local authors. So there's a number of authors that have brought me copies of their books. I have them on the shelf, and I'm always open to if you're a local author and you want to get your books out there. I'll be happy to put some of your books on my shelf and help you promote it. I do signings. I've got there's one of our local authors whose new book should be coming out sometime in the next month or so, I think, and we're going to try and do a signing for that.
You want to name some of them?
Steve
or?
Asher's
Yeah, so
Hauntings.
I figured that was the one you were talking
That's
about.
one of my best sellers.
And I mean, everybody loves a good ghost story, don't they?
Yes.
And Steve's, got a knack for that.
Yeah. Sherry McGregor's got some books. She's got her third one is coming out soon.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing a signing for her when that comes out. So.
Cool.
So there's, I believe firmly in community and supporting community.
Well, I do
and,
too,
Yeah.
and that's it. So, what is Sherry? We know Steve writes ghost stories. What are Sherry's?
Sherry writes
I haven't read any Sherry stuff.
Christian-based mysteries.
That's right. Okay.
She's got her basic outline is there's bad things happen to good people, and it's how we handle them. And in a Christian or a moral way, they're really, really, really good books.
That's great.
Yeah.
That is great. Okay, Sherry, if you're out there listening, I want you to come in. And I know y'all have the I know you have the station on down at the Times Leader. So.
Yeah.
So if you're out there, Sherry, I'll call you. We'll line you up.
And I apologize if I haven't listed everybody in town
but
that
that's
right, but
just two off the top of your heads.
That's
good.
two off the top of my head. So.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
The Cat's Tail open 11 to 5 every day except Wednesday and Sunday, and you can go down, lounge, have a cup of coffee or hot tea, and thumb through the books and have some great company with Pie Wackett and Jenny
Linsky.
Jenny Linsky.
Jenny Linsky.
Jenny Linsky.
Yeah.
All right. Polish kitty. I'm just that's horrible.
New York.
Yeah, New York. Yeah,
kitty.
man. Let's have something good. Let's go to the deli.
There you go.
So that's awesome. It's really great to have a store and a resource like that in town, I think.
Thank you.
And I would encourage you, if you're out there listening, to just stop by. If you're out shopping or walking down the street, if you haven't been in there, say, I don't need any books. Doesn't matter. Just pop in there. Say
come
hello.
by and say hi.
Yeah. I'm going to be out and about today. I'm probably going to pop in there. I haven't been in there for a while.
All right. Well, I'll be there.
So it's the Cat's Tail. They're located at 2007 West Main Street, right there next to the Capitol Theater.
Right.
And you can't miss it. And Maggie invites you to stop by, say hello, have something to drink, and to thumb through the books.
Yep.
It's the Cat's Tail.
The Cat's Tail.
That's awesome.
Oh, the tale she can tell.
Oh, the tale she can tell. Thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you, Ty.
And
Appreciate
thanks
it.
for bringing this cool store to Princeton. It's neat to have a store like that in town.
Well, thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
All right, that's going to wrap up today's edition of Tiger Talk here on your hometown radio station, WPKY The Tiger. It's 834, Ty Englebright. And want to thank Maggie Gammon for stopping in today from the Cat's Tail, 207 West Main Street. It's a used bookstore. They are open 11 to 5 every day except Wednesday and Sunday, and they invite you down to check out their fine selection of used books and to visit with the kiddies. So that's the Cat's Tail right here in Princeton. That's going to wrap it up. Hope you have a wonderful Monday. Thanks for being with us, everybody, and have